Don't be alarmed, but there's a red button that can end the world. For decades, it's sat behind layers of protocol, politics, and human hesitation. But now, a new hand is reaching for it, and it's not even human. Artificial intelligence is being woven into the deadliest systems on Earth. Nuclear weapons, surveillance, targeting, decision-making, even launch authorization. AI is fast, tireless, and unblinking. But it's also flawed, unpredictable, and when making decisions in real time, it's impossible to fully understand. So what happens when the most powerful weapons we've ever built start taking advice from algorithms we don't exactly control? Today, we'll explore how AI could break the fragile logic of nuclear deterrence, supercharge global mistrust, and create a world where one error, one bug, one spoofed signal, or one deepfake could mean the end. To kick things off, you have to remember that since 1945, 9 nations have acquired nuclear weapons: the United States, Russia, China, France, the UK, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel. And for nearly 80 years, none of them have used one in war. That's not because the weapons aren't ready, they are. Thousands sit on a hair trigger alert, armed, aimed, and seconds away from launch. It's because of one fragile idea: deterrence. The logic is brutal but simple. If you fire your nukes, we'll fire ours. Everyone loses. The threat of mutual destruction has created a strange kind of peace, a high-stakes equilibrium based not on trust, but fear. However, deterrence doesn't rely on firepower. It relies on doubt. Truth is, your enemy can't be sure what you'll do. They can't be sure their first strike would succeed. And they definitely can't be sure you won't retaliate. That uncertainty about timing, about capability, about human emotion is what keeps fingers off the button. That's why every detail is deliberate. Nuclear launch codes are heavily guarded, and protocols are strict. But most importantly, humans are in control. Judgment, hesitation, emotion, even miscommunication. All of it plays a role in slowing down the path to Armageddon. Now all that seems to be changing. Artificial intelligence is entering the picture. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't pause to ask, are we sure? And the more we give AI a seat at the table, the more we strip away the very things that have kept us alive: doubt, delay, and human fear. That's the paradox. The systems meant to protect us could end up making us less safe. Because one thing AI is really good at is making fast decisions. And that might just be the worst thing to do when the stakes are nuclear. When it comes down to it, AI systems are only as good as the data we feed them. And when it comes to nuclear warfare, the data is thin. Shockingly thin. There's no real-world dataset of modern nuclear exchanges. No second chances. No historical training ground. But the models keep growing. Billions of parameters trained on simulations, assumptions, and guesswork, all built to predict the unpredictable. And when a system that's known to hallucinate is placed in charge of the most critical decisions on Earth, what happens when it says, "Missiles incoming"? Do we hesitate, or do we trust the machine? Studies suggest humans often defer to artificial intelligence, even when it's wrong. It's called automation bias. And in a nuclear context, that bias could mean the difference between false alarm and full-scale retaliation. Worse still, AI systems often don't show their work. Their logic is buried in code, inaccessible in real time. The decision comes in fast and looks confident. But what if it's based on noise? A false signal? A training flaw? Let's also remember that missiles travel fast. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, are long-range ballistic missiles primarily designed for nuclear weapons delivery. They have a range greater than 5,500 kilometers, or 3,400 miles, and can strike its target in less than 30 minutes. A submarine-launched missile? Even faster, in theory. Nuclear command systems give decision-makers just a few minutes to verify an alert, confirm intent, and respond. But AI doesn't need minutes. It reacts in milliseconds. And in that speed is a new kind of danger. Because when AI declares that a nuclear attack is underway, there may be no time to check its math. No second opinion, no room for doubt, just the illusion of certainty and a clock that's already counting down. Now imagine both sides are using AI. One watches the other, tracks its movements, detects patterns, and makes assumptions. The second does the same, reacts, then escalates. And the first one? It reads that escalation as a threat and escalates further. Two machines, feeding off each other's paranoia. No malice, no hatred. Just logic looped into madness. This is called artificial escalation, a runaway feedback loop between autonomous systems. And unlike human generals, systems do not pick up the phone. They don't hold back. They don't blink. And the more we integrate the technology into command structures, the harder it becomes to not use it. If your adversary is reacting at machine speed, you have no choice but to do the same or fall behind. And so, inch by inch, humans step out of the loop. Until one day, it's not a person weighing a decision, it's a system executing a protocol. It's tragically hilarious when you realize that our mutually assured destruction, ironically, relies on one guarantee. If one side launches, the other will still have something left to fire back. That threat of retaliation is what keeps fingers off the button. But for decades, that delicate balance has depended on another crucial flaw in global military intelligence. Nobody really knows where all the nukes are. Nations like China and Russia have counted on this uncertainty. Their mobile missile launchers roam vast territories, making them harder to detect and neutralize. This mobility is their insurance policy, their second strike guarantee. But what happens when AI-powered surveillance starts closing the gaps? Satellites with machine vision, drones guided by predictive algorithms, global reconnaissance networks that learn and adapt in real time. Suddenly, the illusion of invisibility disappears. The adversary might know exactly where every launcher is hiding. Even worse, they might think they do. And if a nuclear power believes its deterrent could be destroyed before it's ever used, it's faced with a dangerous question. Should we fire first? That fear, whether based on real breakthroughs or imagined ones, can trigger arms buildups, shift doctrines toward first strike advantage, and push leaders into decisions made in panic. In a world where perfect surveillance seems possible, nuclear stability rapidly crumbles. Missiles used to be protected by obscurity, locked behind analog systems, buried in bunkers, sealed off from the outside world. But as artificial intelligence seeps into nuclear infrastructure, those protections start to dissolve. What was once analog becomes digital. What was once isolated becomes connected. And anything connected can be hacked. AI supercharges cyber warfare. It can write malicious code, automate attacks, and hunt for vulnerabilities faster than any human. It makes phishing campaigns almost undetectable. It learns what works and keeps adapting. Now imagine that power turned toward nuclear systems. A general receives a fake alert. An operator is fooled by a forged order. Communications are compromised, and no one knows what to believe. Worse, the same systems meant to defend us could be poisoned from within, feed them the wrong data, corrupt their training sets, twist how they interpret threats. Like we mentioned previously, once these systems are compromised, the damage spreads fast. Because nuclear command isn't just one machine, it's a network. And networks fall like dominoes. There's a huge possibility that if nuclear war ever starts by accident, it might begin with a lie. Artificial intelligence has blurred the line between reality and illusion. It can generate images, clone voices, even fabricate entire videos of events that never happened. A deepfake could show a world leader threatening war. A fake memo could declare a missile launch. An automated transcript could impersonate encrypted military chatter. And in a moment of high tension, with no time to verify, even a fake might feel like a declaration of war. The logic is brutal. If it looks real, and you wait to find out it's not, you could be dead. This is disinformation with stakes in the millions. The potential is greater than just tricking people. It's manipulating entire governments. It's fogging the battlefield until no one knows what's true, and doing it all faster than we can respond. On their own, each of these risks is destabilizing, but combined, there's something else entirely. Artificial intelligence gives hackers new weapons. It corrupts the data used to train military systems. It floods the world with believable fakes, and it shortens the time leaders have to tell fact from fabrication. The very systems built to prevent disaster may now be the ones most vulnerable to it. When fear spreads, faster than facts and machines decide, before humans can, there's no margin for error, and no way to undo what comes next. What now? How do we make sure we don't accidentally give the Armageddon keys to an algorithm? Because trust me, the risks are real, and they're growing. But the future isn't set in stone. With thoughtful, deliberate policy, we can prevent these AI dangers from spiraling into catastrophe. The most urgent step is to strictly limit the role of the technology in nuclear command and control the very heart of the launch decision. Experts warn us that simply having a human in the loop at the last moment won't cut it. Human judgment isn't a backup button you can push at the 11th hour, especially when decisions need to be made in seconds or less. Instead, the countries with nuclear powers must establish clear, legally binding rules that require meaningful human control at every step in the nuclear decision-making chain. That means no intelligent systems autonomously making recommendations or decisions without humans fully understanding how those systems work and why they make their recommendations. Humans need to grasp not just the what, but the why. Without this, the technology becomes mysterious, and handing over nuclear launch decisions to something we don't understand is a gamble with existential stakes. Limiting AI use in nuclear decision-making wouldn't just protect us, it would send a vital message to other nuclear powers. If the United States or China shows restraint and transparency, it can reduce fears and help avoid a dangerous escalation, an arms race triggered by mistrust. But nuclear weapons are only one piece of the puzzle. Escalation to nuclear conflict usually doesn't start there. It's often sparked by conventional military actions, misunderstandings, or miscalculations. A second critical policy step is to require meaningful human control for all decisions involving potentially lethal military force, not just nuclear weapons. This means any drone strike, missile launch, or lethal military action must have a human decision maker fully engaged, authorized, and accountable. Right now, some military directives allow for varying degrees of automation and human oversight. Sometimes that oversight can be minimal. To avoid artificial escalation, where machines might react to machines and spiral out of control, meaningful human supervision should be codified into law. It should be crystal clear. No intelligent-driven killing without a human making the call. To stabilize the current system and reduce risks further, countries should also reduce nuclear ambiguities by formally renouncing the option to launch a first strike. This isn't just a symbolic gesture. A clear, unequivocal commitment to never initiate nuclear conflict lowers tensions and makes misinterpretations less likely. When every country clearly understands, China and Russia won't be the first to fire, similar to what India has committed to already. There's less pressure to launch preemptively. Alongside this, expanding and strengthening military-to-military crisis communication channels, like hotlines between nuclear powers, is also very crucial. Fast, direct dialogue between leaders in times of crisis can help clear up misunderstandings before they escalate. On the global stage, America has an opportunity to lead by example and bring others to the table. International norms around artificial intelligence in military decision-making needs urgent attention. Nuclear leaders should push for global standards, including potentially recommending against the integration of intelligence systems to the highest-risk military decisions. This includes strengthening existing treaties, like the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, as well as reinforcing the norms behind the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. By championing transparency, restraint, and cooperation, leading countries can help build an international consensus to prevent intelligent-driven nuclear escalation. Procurement and contracting policies must be tightened dramatically. Intelligent systems aren't off-the-shelf consumer products. They require rigorous testing, auditing, and stress testing before they ever touch the military. Red teaming exercises, where experts try to break or deceive the technology, are vital to understanding potential vulnerabilities. Rigorous verification and validation ensure that the systems behave as expected under all possible scenarios, not just the ideal ones. The stakes here couldn't be higher. One overlooked flaw in an intelligent system, connected to nuclear command, could have irrevocable consequences. We also need a robust, well-funded, technical research program focused on AI risk management, especially in the context of nuclear command, control, and effective communications. This means investing in ways to design intelligent systems that are transparent and explainable so their recommendations can be trusted and verified. It means researching how to reduce machine bias, how to keep critical military decisions at human speed, and how to verify the authenticity of intelligence data with the goal of preventing disinformation-driven escalation. Such research may even uncover innovative approaches to nuclear command that avoid artificial intelligence entirely, creating safer, more resilient systems for the future. Finally, nuclear risks don't exist in isolation from the commercial landscape. Advanced AI systems developed and deployed by private companies can be weaponized, intentionally or accidentally, through misinformation campaigns and cyber attacks that bleed into military and geopolitical tensions. To combat this, the US must build a strong framework for auditing, licensing, and regulating advanced intelligent technologies in civilian domains. This framework should include mandatory risk assessments, focusing on how these systems might spread misinformation or be exploited for cyber warfare. Only by bridging the civilian and military spheres in AI governance can we hope to prevent intelligent system-driven escalation before it starts. Taken together, these policy steps form a blueprint to keep nuclear weapons and humanity safe in the AI era. But none of it will happen without political will, public awareness, and international cooperation. This is a race against time. The choices made now will determine if AI becomes a guardian of peace or the spark that lights the fire. Artificial intelligence might be the future of defense. Smarter systems, faster decisions, fewer human errors. But there are lines we can't afford to cross. The nuclear button is one of them. When we hand over decisions of mass destruction to algorithms, when we let code decide the fate of cities, nations, maybe civilization itself, we're no longer just upgrading our technology suite. We're rewriting what it means to be responsible, to be human. Intelligent systems do not understand the weight of regret. They do not feel the cost of a wrong call. And it surely can't take back a massive mushroom cloud. So when we build machines that can make mistakes we can't undo, what does that say about us? About the world we're choosing to create. About the kind of future we're leaving behind. If you enjoyed this story and want more, like this video. Also share it with friends and family so all humans are aware and can make their voice heard. Subscribe for more amazing videos into the dangerous crossroads of technology and power. Drop a comment and tell us. If you had to make the decision, would AI ever be allowed near nuclear objectives? Because the future doesn't just happen. We build it. Together. Thank you for listening. Stay blessed and stay curious.